Welcome to AM Story, where every story speaks louder than words. Sit back, feel every moment, and let the story begin. Hey, I don't usually talk about this, but if you're here, maybe it's for a reason. So, here goes. You ever look back and wonder when exactly everything changed? For me, it started with colors. I used to feel colors, Like, blue wasn't just blue. It was the sky on Sunday mornings. It was my mom's favorite scarf. It was peace. Red? Red was joy. It was that first bike ride. It was the spaghetti nights when Dad made jokes and Mom actually laughed. But then, one day, everything just shifted, and suddenly blue wasn't peace anymore. It was the color under Mom's eyes, the silence between words, the weight in the room after a fight. I was 9. I didn't understand what divorce really meant, but I knew what cold felt like. And the house? It got colder. They stopped talking. Stopped laughing, stopped looking at each other. And me, I was just stuck in the middle, holding a box of crayons, thinking maybe, just maybe, if I drew us all holding hands again, things would go back. Spoiler alert, they didn't. I used to think silence was just nothing, like an empty space, but it's not. Silence has a sound and a color. Mine was always this heavy, deep blue, the kind that feels like it's pressing down on your chest. After the divorce, Mom and I moved to this tiny apartment. New city, new school, new everything. But nothing felt new. It just felt wrong. The walls were thin, the heater was broken, and the quiet, it screamed. Mom tried, okay? She really did. But she stopped humming in the mornings, stopped making pancakes on Saturdays, stopped being Mom. She was always tired, always somewhere else, even when she was sitting right next to me. And I didn't know how to fix it. I mean, what do you even say to someone who's breaking slowly? I stopped talking too. At school. At home. Even to myself. It was like, if I stayed quiet enough, maybe things wouldn't fall apart even more. But inside, I was drowning in thoughts. I missed Dad, but I also hated him. And hating him made me feel guilty. And feeling guilty made me hate myself. So I stopped drawing. Stopped coloring. Because suddenly colors just hurt. Blue wasn't the sky anymore. Red wasn't laughter. Yellow wasn't warm. Everything turned gray, and no one noticed. You know what's the worst part of growing up in a broken home? You don't even realize it's broken, until you start blaming yourself for the pieces. I remember this one night. I was in my room coloring quietly, trying to stay invisible, like always. And suddenly, crash, a plate, then shouting. Mom screaming, Dad yelling back through the phone. I couldn't hear the words, but I didn't need to. The pain was loud enough. I covered my ears, tried to block it out, tried to pretend I was somewhere else. But my body, it remembered. The shaking, the tight chest, the tears that came out without warning. And in that moment, I thought, maybe they're fighting because of me. Like maybe if I got better grades, if I cleaned my room, if I stopped asking for things, they wouldn't be so angry all the time. I started obsessing over being perfect, smiling when I didn't want to, saying I'm fine even when I was falling apart inside. Because I thought, if I could just be the perfect kid, maybe they'd love each other again. Maybe we'd be a family again. But guess what? They didn't. And we weren't. They moved on, found new jobs, new lives, new people to love. And me? I stayed in the same place, emotionally frozen, like a photograph stuck in a cracked frame, still pretending, still smiling, still trying to be okay, even when I wasn't. Because no one really asked the quiet kid, are you hurting too? You ever get so used to pretending that you forget what's real? Yeah, that was me. I became really good at faking things. Fake smile at school. Fake stories about my weekend. Fake I'm okay texts. People called me so polite. Such a good kid. You're always smiling. And I'd nod, say thank you, and walk away before the tears showed up. Because behind all of it, I was exhausted. Mentally, emotionally. Even physically. Every night I'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about how weird it is. That pain doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. And the whispers were loudest when everything else was quiet. You're not enough. They're better off without you. Stop being so dramatic. It got dark, real fast. I stopped eating right. Started skipping meals. Pretended I wasn't hungry. My clothes got baggier. My eyes got duller. But no one noticed. Not even Mom. I didn't blame her. She was dealing with her own war. She was surviving too. But still, it hurt. So I started drawing again. Not happy stuff like before. Not sunsets or cartoons. No, I drew shadows. Cracks, people with hollow eyes. I didn't even realize it at first. That I was pouring all my pain onto paper, bleeding in ink because I didn't know how else to let it out. It was the only way I could say, "Hey, I'm not okay," without actually saying it. But again, no one saw, because sometimes when your pain doesn't look loud, people assume you're fine. And honestly, that's the scariest kind of pain, the quiet kind, the one that sits with you in a room full of people and makes you feel completely alone. There was this one day, I still remember it so clearly. Rainy, gray, the kind of day that feels like the whole world just wants to sleep. I was sitting alone in the art room after school. Everyone else had gone home. But I stayed behind, pretending to work on a project. Truth is, I just didn't want to go home, didn't want to face the silence, or the way Mom didn't even look up from her phone anymore. So I just sat there, drawing this figure, this person faceless, curled up on the floor under a sky that looked like it was collapsing. It was raw, unfinished, messy, but it was real. And then suddenly, I heard someone behind me. "Hey, that's intense." I turned. It was my art teacher, Ms. Lane. Young, kinda quirky, always smelled like coffee and paint. I froze. Didn't know what to say. I was embarrassed. She didn't say much. Just looked at the drawing for a while, then looked at me. Really looked. And then she said something I'll never forget. "You don't have to carry all that alone, you know." And I felt my throat close up. Like all the words I'd buried for years were clawing their way up. I didn't cry. Not then. But something cracked inside me. Something finally broke open. She didn't push me to talk. Didn't give some awkward advice. She just sat with me, in the silence. In the gray, and for the first time in forever, I didn't feel completely invisible. I went home that night, still broken. Still heavy, but maybe, just maybe, not as alone. And it hit me. Sometimes, healing doesn't start with fixing things. It starts with being seen. After that day in the art room, something shifted. Not like, boom, everything's okay now. No, it was more like a tiny crack in the wall I'd built around myself. And for the first time, a little light got in. Ms. Lane started checking in on me. Not in a weird pushy way. Just, hey, you all right today? Kind of way. And man, those 5 words, they hit different when you've gone years without anyone asking. At first, I still lied. Said, yeah, shrugged, changed the subject. But one day, I just broke. I told her everything. Not all at once, but enough about Mom, about the silence, the guilt, the drawing, the pretending. I remember my hands were shaking. I kept saying, "Sorry, this is stupid. I don't even know why I'm crying." And she looked at me and said, "It's not stupid. You've been holding too much for too long." God, I didn't realize how heavy it all was until someone helped me carry it. From that moment on, I started drawing again, but different this time. Still messy, still full of pain, but with color. Reds that didn't scream, blues that didn't drown, yellows that started to feel like hope again. I didn't magically get better. I still had bad days, nights where I couldn't sleep. Mom still struggled. We didn't hug and cry and fix everything like in the movies. But you know what? That's okay. Because for the first time in my life, I stopped faking fine. I let myself feel. And it was terrifying. But it was also the beginning of something new. Not a happy ending, but maybe a real one. So yeah, things were getting better. Kind of. I started drawing again, letting myself feel, letting someone in. But healing? It's not a straight line. No one tells you that. Some days, I felt light. Like maybe I could breathe again. Like maybe I was gonna be okay. But other days, I'd wake up and feel like the weight came back even heavier, for no reason, or maybe for every reason. One night, Mom came home late. She was crying. I asked her what happened and she just said, "I'm tired of pretending." And then she went to her room, closed the door, and I didn't hear anything for hours. That silence, it triggered something in me. I sat outside her door just listening, and all those memories came flooding back. The fights, the crying, the little kid version of me, who thought he could fix everything with a crayon. I broke. I wanted to scream. Punch something. Run away. Disappear. For a second. I thought about it. I really did. I thought, what if I just stopped trying? What if I stopped pretending to be strong? Stop pretending to be okay? Would it matter? Would anyone care? I stared at my old sketchbook, pages full of pain, and for the first time in a long time, I was scared of my own art, because it knew too much, held too much. But then, something in me whispered, "You've made it through every day before this one." And I held on to that, tight. I texted Ms. Lane. I just said, "Bad night, can't breathe." She replied in 2 seconds flat, "You're not alone, I'm here, stay." And maybe it sounds small, but in that moment, it saved me. Not because she had the answers, not because she fixed everything, but because someone saw me, in the dark, in the mess, and didn't look away. And I realized, even pain has a color worth painting. It's been a few years since that night, since I almost gave up, since I chose to stay. And yeah, things are still messy. Life's still loud and quiet in all the wrong places. Mom's doing better now. Not perfect, but better. She started opening up to me. We're not best friends or anything, but sometimes we sit on the couch, share a snack, and talk. And those moments, they mean everything. Ms. Lane's no longer my teacher, but we still talk. She's the reason I applied to art school. Yeah, art school. Crazy, right? I never thought I'd make it out of that darkness, but somehow color found me again. I started turning pain into something honest, something beautiful, something mine. My sketchbook looks different now. Still raw, still emotional, but full of life. Some pages are soft pastels, others still shadows and storms. But that's okay, because that's real. That's me. I'm not trying to be perfect anymore. I'm not pretending to be fine. I'm just here, living, feeling, breathing. And if you're watching this, if you've ever felt like the world went gray on you, just know you're not alone. You're not broken. And your pain, it has color. It matters. And someday, when you're ready, you'll paint with it too. If this story found you, maybe it's because it was meant to. Thanks for listening. Take care of your heart. Seriously.